Now that we have the basics of the railroad method, let's just dive a little bit deeper and try to solve for an exponential problem. So let's say we have x squared equals 4. So this one's fairly simple. We can just use the law of equations. What's the opposite of squaring something? Well, square rooting. Remember that we can just use the law of equations so that we can get x by itself, because that's all we ever want to do. So what can we do to get x squared to make it equal x? Well, we can just square root it. Since the square root of x squared is x, why don't we just square root each side? So let's try that. Once we square root each side, we get the square root of x squared equals the square root of 4. And if you simplify that down, you get x equals 2. So there, you've solved the problem. It's that simple. So now that we have that knowledge, let's try the opposite. Let's try square roots. So say we have the square root of x equals 3. Well, in this situation, what makes the square root of x equal x? Well, we just have to square it. So why don't we just do that to each side like we did last time? It's that simple. See, this is where the law of equations literally can help us do anything. The law of equations is the secret to algebra. That's all it is. What you do to one side is what you have to do to the other. And you can do anything, like literally anything. You could times both sides by 73,000 and they're going to be the same thing. So now that we do that, we get the square root of x squared equals 3 squared, which really just equals x equals 3 squared, which is x equals 9. So boom, we already have our answer. That simple. Okay, so now let's talk about like if we're doing problems with multiples of these operations. Like, here's an example. 5x squared plus 1 equals 46. So we're just going to subtract the 1 from each side using the law of equations, and now we have 5x squared equals 45. Now we're just going to use the law of equations again and divide each side by 5. And then you get x squared equals 9. And then you just square root each side. See, it's all made super simply because you're using the railroad method. Because now you can just go back and you can look at everything that you did. So if your number's like 0.35 like repeating, it's that's probably not right. So you can go back and look and see what you did and then check if you messed up or not.